barbell back squat tutorial. So first things first, you want to set up the bar at the correct height. If it's too high, you'll be tippy-toeing it back. You'll be trying to get it back on the rack. It'll be really hard, especially if you're fatigued. So you don't want it too high. You want to be able to easily walk it forwards and be able to slide it down onto the rack. It can be quite intimidating if you've never done a barbell back squat to start putting a heavy bar on your back. It can also tend to feel a bit unbalanced from side to side. So I'll walk you through my basic tips and some of the corrections for some of the common faults. So first things first, set up at the correct height, and then you want to walk in to that bar and ideally have your hands as close together as they will comfortably get into the right position. And I will explain what that right position is. So for me, I often look at where the little rings of no grip are out here, and I'll position just inside of those. So gripping onto the bar, I tend to have my thumb on the same side as my fingers rather than gripping it like that. So underneath the bar, and then you want to make sure you are placing the bar onto a comfortable part of your upper back / lower neck. If you place it on top of the vertebrae, the little bones of your neck, it's going to feel super uncomfortable. So you want to go a little bit lower than that. There should be a natural little shelf created just above the spine of your scapulae, that little bony part on your shoulder blades. Okay, from once you've found that position there, you're going to lift up. If it doesn't feel good now, it's not going to improve. It's not going to start feeling better. So rack it back up and refine that position. So once you've found that comfortable position there, now you can still grip with your thumb underneath. So I'm just going to try with my thumb underneath now as well. And once you've got that comfortable position there, walk back away from the rig. You want to have plenty of room. You don't want to be banging onto the little brackets there. So once you've got this position, from here, I want to point out a common error that people's elbows tend to be too far back. Now, as you go down, it's going to start to push your weight too far forwards. So before you go down into the squat, think about getting your elbows in line with your trunk, or your upper arms, your humerus in line with your trunk. So here, I'll have a big breath in at the top, and then coming down to the bottom. Now, ideally, if you've got the range of motion, you want to sink so that your hips are lower than the tops of your knees, and then from here, driving back up. Now, you can also do what's called a box squat. So if you haven't done this before, it can be quite confidence increasing to place a box behind you here so that you've got something to go down to and then come back up. However, I would encourage you to try first, if you've just got the bar on your back and it's not feeling too heavy, to come all the way down as far as you comfortably can and come back up. What you don't want to do at the bottom of the squat is lean forwards and get stuck down there. So think of chest up slightly the whole time. That's going to avoid you falling forwards in your squat. And it should be a nice vertical movement. You should notice from side on there, my bar is moving straight up and down. Okay, once you've done your set, walking forward and letting it slide down. Now, if you haven't done the back squat before, it can take a little while to get comfortable with it on your back. If this is the first time you've done them, I would encourage you to do a few sets just with the bar to get comfortable and confident with the technique. Once you're confident, then you can start to load it up in accordance with the program. So popping some weight on there, and always each session I would encourage you to start out nice and light until you build up to enough weight to hit your fatigue levels by the prescribed number of repetitions. That's a massive mouthful, I appreciate that. But what it means is if I say do 10 reps of back squats to an RPE 7 or 3 reps in reserve, that means you're going to do 10. By your 10th rep, you should be starting to find it quite difficult and think, oh, I could probably do 3 more of those. That means you've hit an RPE 7 or 3 reps in reserve, which are the inverse of each other, and that's the perfect place to be. If you get to your 10th rep and you're like, this is feeling fairly easy, I've got at least another 5 of these, you can go a bit heavier. Conversely, if you hit, say, 6, 7 reps and you're like, I can only probably do another 3 of these, stop then. Don't worry about continuing on to your 10th rep, because by the time you hit 10 reps, you're probably going to hit an RPE 10 out of 10, which is going to be far too fatiguing. All right, so once you've got the weight on there, you would normally strap these on. If you're squatting by yourself in the gym and you're not feeling confident, you haven't got a box behind you, I would encourage you to put some safety bars on. So I've got some over there that I can use, because you don't want to get stuck in the bottom of a squat. Okay, so just to demonstrate this for you now, so finding your grip position there, walking underneath the bar, find that nice, comfortable, fleshy shelf, and standing up. Walking back at least a good step from the rig. I here like to turn my feet out. I find it more comfortable on my hips. But my feet are, roughly speaking, shoulder width apart. You can vary that and see what feels most comfortable. I like to think about when I squat down, my body squats down between my knees. This encourages your legs to go out. So if I show you front on, helicopter around here. So setting myself up, feet slightly out, and I think about sinking down between my knees. That creates room for me to sink down reasonably low into that squat and drive back up again. Once you've finished, rack it back up. And that is a basic overview of the barbell high bar back squat. Please note this is different to a low bar back squat, which sits further down your shoulder blades, which I will run through in a separate video when it's appropriate. All right, so alternatives to the barbell back squat in your hybrid kettlebell program are goblet squats. So with a goblet squat, you're holding the weight up in front here. This could be a dumbbell or a kettlebell, sinking down nice and low and coming back up. Now, because of the reduced total load, so the weight that you're using with a goblet squat is always going to be less than what you're doing with a barbell, you're probably going to have to do more than the prescribed number of repetitions to get to the requisite level of fatigue. So if I've programmed 10 reps to an RPE 7, then you're probably not going to hit an RPE 7 where you get to that stage where you can only do 3 more reps by 10 repetitions if you're doing the goblet squat. So just keep going until you're getting to that point where you're like, I'm burning, I could probably do 3 more of these, and then stop. Because it's that level of fatigue that is crucial to drive the positive muscle adaptations that you're after, including building some muscle, hypertrophy, as well as increasing your strength or your ability to generate peak levels of force. Another alternative, if you don't want to do the goblet squat, is a Bulgarian split squat. Now, I have got a full tutorial elsewhere. You can always jump onto my YouTube channel. However, quickly speaking, you want to set yourself up so that you've got your back foot up on the bench and you're sinking down all the way down till your back knee touches the ground, but all your weight should be on this front foot. And then once again, you're going to hit that level of fatigue where you feel like you can only do, say, 3 or 2, depending on what I've prescribed. Then do the same thing on the other side. So it's going to take a little bit longer because you've got to do one leg and then the other leg. But these are a fantastic squat pattern alternative to a barbell back squat. Because in a squat, you're still doing essentially a split squat, a Bulgarian split squat. So it's a great way to build strength, especially if you've only got minimal equipment at home.